Welcome again to this HTA course. This is video number 2 that gives an introduction to health technology assessment, HTA, and economic evaluation. Why do we need health technology assessment? Why do we need to assess health technology? Because there was a tension, an increasing tension between limited healthcare resources, limited budget of policymakers, and unlimited needs, leading to a rising demand for healthcare. And as you can see on the screen, the health expenditure in the Netherlands are really expected to increase in the next few years and decades due to, in a range, the aging of the population, but also due to new medical technological possibilities that are often more expensive, like gene therapy for cardiovascular disease. And thus, we have not enough resources to meet the needs of the society. And our policymakers, they have limited healthcare resources. Having more resources means less money for education or infrastructure. And that's why it is important to have decisions about resource allocation that are efficient and that are rational. And our policymakers, they really need to maximize the health of the population with the limited healthcare resources available. And in this context, HTA is really important because HTA is really the tool used to make informed decisions, then really to help policymakers to improve the health of the population and to be really efficient. The most common definition of health technology assessment is provided on this slide. And HTA is a multidisciplinary process that uses explicit methods to determine the value of a health technology at different points in its life cycle. And the purpose is to inform decision making in order to promote an equitable, efficient, and high-quality health system. A few notes on this definition. First is that it's for any type of health technologies. Technology that could prevent, diagnose, or treat medical conditions, but also promote health, provide rehabilitation, or organize healthcare delivery. Then it can be for a medicine, for a test, for a device, for any type of health technology. The process is also formal, systematic, and transparent, and use state-of-the-art method. Then it's a really scientific way to do research and to assess health technology. With HTA, we also look at different dimensions. We look at the clinical effectiveness, safety, that's really the clinical dimension, but also the cost and economic implication, and some additional consideration like the ethical, the social, or the cultural implication for the patient and also for the community. HTA is something that can be applied through the life cycle of a drug, even in pre-market, what we also call early HTA, during market approval and reimbursement, but also post-market, once a drug is available, maybe leading to some disinvestment of a health technology if a technology is not a good value for money. One of the framework of HTA is the HTA core model that was defined by the European Network for Health Technology Assessment called the EU HTA, and HTA that was created by the European Commission more than 15 years ago. And in this framework that you could see on the slide, there were different categories, aspects that are important when assessing a health technology. Moving from the health problem and cure and use to the description and the technical characteristic, the safety and clinical effectiveness, cost and economic evaluation, ethical analysis, organizational aspect, social aspect, and the legal aspect. And the core HTA is then an analysis of all of these elements in a multidisciplinary way to really provide some recommendation on the use of the health technology. The key payer requirements for a new health technologies are the following. A new health technology should have a good value, to have a good value differentiation, and should be affordable. For the value differentiation, it should be a good clinical value and then a good economic value. The good clinical value is answering the following question. How much better does the innovation perform compared to standard of care? It's mainly the efficacy and safety side of the health technology. then the intervention should also have a good economic value. Is the added value of the innovation worth its price? What is the value for money of the health intervention? And in addition to have this value differentiation, health technology should also be affordable. Thus, the payer has the budget to pay the innovation. And that's something we get from a budget impact analysis. In this course, we will mainly focus on the economic side with cost effectiveness analysis. And these requirements are important in all of the countries, but the importance of each of the aspects could slightly differ between countries. For example, the clinical dimension are mainly important in countries like Germany, France, or the UK. Economic consideration really important in Scandinavian countries, in the UK, and also coming more and more important in the Netherlands. And countries like Italy, Spain, in the south of Europe, they also put some more importance on the affordability of the health technologies. HTA is really important in most of the countries. On this slide, you see the HTA activities in Europe, and in yellow for both pharmaceutical and non-pharmaceutical technologies. The role of HTA in decision-making is thus really becoming more and more important for the approval of intervention, but also for the reimbursement and pricing to be part of insurance package, by example. And we also observe that funding agencies for research are also more and more interested in the efficiency of healthcare, and thus we really need to include some economic dimension in funding proposals. To show one application of the importance of HTA, the drug development process. As you know, developing a drug is a really long and costly process. You need to screen a lot of molecules to spend a lot of stages from the preclinical development to different clinical trials, and it takes up to 10 years to really develop a good drug. And if a drug successfully passes all of this preclinical and clinical development, there are still some administrative phases before the drug is available for the patient. And it is about 2 to 3 years of administrative procedure with the registration, the marketing authorization, the price, and the reimbursement. And then once the drug is available on the market, the pharmacovigilance will start the safety monitoring of the drug once the drug is on the market. Thus, we distinguish 2 administrative phases. The first phase is the marketing authorization, also called licensing or regulatory approval. And this process is done at the European level by the European Medicine Agency, in the US by the US Food and Drug Administration. And both organizations then provide an authorization. In Europe, an authorization at the EU level. We have a centralized procedure. And the EMA, also the FDA, will look at the efficacy, safety, and quality of the medicine. And they conduct what we call a benefit-risk analysis. If the benefits outweigh the risk of the medicine, the benefit-risk ratio is positive, and then the drug receives marketing authorization. After marketing authorization, the next step is to get a reimbursement and a price. And this decision is done at national level, like by the National Institute for Health and Clinical Excellence in the UK or the Zorg Institute, Netherlands, in the Netherlands. This decision is thus always made at the national level, and the agency, they will look also at the efficacy, safety, and quality, but in addition to economic consideration like the cost effectiveness, the budget impact, the severity of the disease, and the quality of the evidence. And this organization, they conduct an analysis of the relative effectiveness of the new technology, the added therapeutic value compared to available intervention, and cost effectiveness is also becoming important in this decision. In the Netherlands, by example, for a new medicine to be part of the health insurance package, there are 4 criteria. The new medicine has to be effective first. It should be for a necessity. than for a disease with a substantial burden. Third, it should be cost-effective. Thus, are the additional effect of a new treatment worth the additional investment compared to other available treatment? And fourth, it should be feasible. This process is also summarized on this slide. So if you start the evaluation, if the drug is effective, then you go to the next step. If the drug is not effective, you do not reimburse the medicine. If the drug is effective, the next step is what is the burden of disease? Is it a necessity to have this medicine? If yes, then you go, is the drug cost effective? If the drug is not cost effective, you will look at some additional argument. It could be that we will reimburse maybe for other reasons. It is, by example, the case for orphan drugs, because orphan drugs are not cost effective, but for equity reason, to treat any type of patient, they are still reimbursed. And if the drug is cost effective, and there is no arguments against that, then the drug will be reimbursed. Early HTA is also something that I previously mentioned, is something that is also more and more commonly done. And early HTA is all method used to inform industry and other stakeholders about the potential value of new medical product in the development, including methods to quantify and manage uncertainty, that we can conduct HTA really early in the process. In the course material, you will also see one video from an international organization of health technology assessment that will provide some more background on early HTA. Economic evaluation is one part of HTA. And economic evaluation looks at the cost and the effects of intervention. Economic evaluation provides us a framework to identify and to compare the cost and the benefits of different options, with really the aim to help decision makers to make efficient healthcare decisions. This slide is a really important slide of the course that you will see in several videos. An economic evaluation compares then two interventions. By example, a new device, A, and the old situation, the current situation, B. And we will look at two dimensions, at the cost and the effect of both interventions. And the economic evaluation looks at the relationship between the differences in the cost, ideally the societal cost, and the difference in the effect, ideally measured in terms of quality adjusted life years. This definition of an economic evaluation is then for a full economic evaluation. And we get a full economic evaluation if we answer yes to two different questions. Are both costs and consequences measured, thus both dimensions, and is there a comparison of two alternatives? If we answer yes, we have a full economic evaluation, and then we compare two interventions in cost and in effects. There are four main types of economic evaluation. They all compare intervention in cost, in monetary term, and in outcome. And they differ in the way they measure the outcome. In a cost minimization analysis, the outcomes are the same for both interventions. And thus we just compare the intervention in monetary term, and we select the intervention with the lower total cost. In a cost-benefit analysis, the outcomes are expressed in monetary term. Thus the cost and the outcome are both expressed in monetary term. And if the outcome in monetary term are higher than the cost, we have a positive net social benefit. This approach, commonly used by economists, is not often used in the field of healthcare because it's really difficult to give a monetary value to an health outcome. And that's why the cost effectiveness analysis and the cost utility analysis are the two most common types of economic evaluation we use in healthcare. In a cost effectiveness analysis, we compare intervention in an outcome in a natural unit, like a clinical endpoint or a descriptive quality of life or even a satisfaction. There's any possible natural unit. Cost-utility analysis, we have the same outcome, named QALY for Quality Adjusted Life Years. And it's a generic outcome measure that includes the quantity and the quality of life. And it represents 1 year in perfect health. And cost-utility in the literature is often considered as a particular case of a cost-effectiveness analysis. We often see the wording cost-effectiveness in the literature even if QALY or a cost-utility analysis is used. To build up such economic evaluation, there are some key aspects. We need to look at the cost. We need to look at the outcome. And then we need to combine cost and outcome to provide the results and to make some uncertainty analysis. And there are different methods for economic evaluation. And each of these aspects will be further explained in the next videos. To summarize this part and to provide an overview of some key terms, health technology assessment is thus a multidisciplinary field. It's broad and it's way to provide information for policy making. Economic evaluation is a part, but a very important part, a pillar of HTA, looking at the cost and the effects of intervention. Pharmacoeconomics is a word often used as a part of economic evaluation, looking at the economic evaluation of drugs, of medicines. And another point, cost effectiveness and cost utility are not synonyms of economic evaluation, but they are specific type of economic evaluation. Some references, and I thank you for your attention.